Early the next morning a contrary breeze came whistling along the river. The dolphin sprang to life, scudded the last few miles, and bumped against the wharf of Wethersfield Landing. The shore, muffled in thick scarves of drifting mist, looked scarcely different from the miles of unbroken forest that they had seen for the past week. Sailors began vigorously to roll out the great casks of molasses and pile them along the wharf. Two of the men lowered over the side the 7 small leather trunks that held all of Kit's belongings and piled them, one beside the other, on the wet planking. Kit clambered down the ladder and stood for the second time on the alien shore that was to be her home. Her heart sank. This was Wethersfield, just a narrow sandy stretch of shoreline, a few piles sunk in the river with rough planking for a platform. Out of the mist jutted a row of cavernous wooden structures that must be warehouses, and beyond that dense dripping green of fields and woods. No town, not a house, only a few men and boys, and 2 yapping dogs who had come to meet the boat. With something like panic, Kit watched Goodwife Croft descend the ladder and stride ahead of her husband along the wharf. Prudence, dragging at her mother's hand, gazed back imploringly as they passed. "Ma," she ventured timidly, "the pretty lady got off here at Wethersfield." Kit summoned the boldness to speak to her. "Yes," Prudence called clearly, "and I hope that I will see you often." Goodwife Croft halted and glared at Kit. "I'll thank you to let my child alone," she spat out. "We do not welcome strangers in this town, and you be the kind we like least." Jerking Prudence nearly off her feet, she marched firmly up the dirt road and disappeared in the fog. Even John Holbrook's farewells were abstracted, a formal bow, a polite wish for her pleasant arrival, and he too strode eagerly into the fog in quest of his new teacher. Then Kit saw Captain Eaton approaching, and knew that the moment had come when the truth would have to be told. "There must be some mistake," the captain began. "We signaled yesterday that we would reach Wethersfield at dawn. I expected that your aunt and uncle would be here to meet you, no matter how early it might be." Kit swallowed and gathered her courage. "Captain Eaton," she said boldly, "my uncle and aunt can hardly be blamed for not meeting you. You see, well, to be honest, they do not even know that I am coming." The captain's jaw tightened. You gave me to understand that they had sent for you to come." Kit lifted her head proudly. "I told you that they wanted me," she corrected him. "Mistress Wood is my mother's sister. Naturally, she would want me to come." "Even assuming that to be true, how could you be sure that they're still in Connecticut?" "My Aunt Rachel's last letter came only 6 months ago." He scowled with annoyance. "You know very well that I should never have taken you on board had I known this. Now I shall have to take this time to find where your uncle lives and deliver you. But understand, I take no responsibility for your coming." Kit's head went higher. "I am entirely responsible for my own coming," she assured him haughtily. "Fair enough," the captain responded grimly. "Look here, Nat." He turned back. "See if 2 hands can be spared to carry this baggage." Kit's cheeks were scarlet. Why should Nat, who had carefully been somewhere else during the whole of the last 9 days, have to be so handy at just this moment? Now, whatever befell, he was going to be there to witness it, with those mocking blue eyes and that maddening cool amusement. What if Aunt Rachel— But there was no time for doubt now. Between trying to hold up her head confidently and at the same time find a place to set down her dainty kid shoes, between the slimy ruts and the mud puddles, Kit had all she could tend to.